And welcome in, everybody, to another edition of Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. That's Chad Bryan to my right. I'm Eli Moon. Of course, to your left is Chad Bryan. Again, Eli Moon here with you, and this is Inside Edge Primetime. Welcome in, everybody. We got a lot to talk about here today. And, Chad, before we get into any of it, how you doing here on this Wednesday edition of Primetime?
Good, man. This has been a day filled with all kinds of technical problems in this year. It's like, what's next? I'm doing pretty good, man. How are you? It wasn't quite as warm today. It was a little colder. I did feel that when I went out for a little bit earlier today, but other than that, I'm pretty good, man. How are you doing?
Yeah, I did real well today and doing well still. Trying to find the void of not having NFL every weekend or on your Thursdays or getting ready for like a Thursday night football game. It's kind of getting, got to get used to it. But NBA in full swing, Harden era for the Cavs, and it's been a lot of fun. I mean, just this week alone, we got a lot to talk about. I don't know if we'll get to it, but even Isaiah Stewart in the 7-game suspension, one game more than Ben Wallace had with the Malice in the Palace with Detroit way back in 2004, I believe, the Malice in the Palace. So crazy to think about. And, just a lot to digest here as a sports fan. We got a lot to talk about, but I'm doing well. It's my long story that should have probably been a little shorter.
It's the story of my life, man.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. We got a lot, like I said, to talk about, including the Winter Olympics that are in full swing over there in Italy. Me and Papa Moon got to watch some men's luge, the doubles action today, and that was really, really exciting. We also got to watch the hockey. I watched Sweden and Italy. The hometown team, the home country, the home team, they almost defeated Sweden, who is one of the favorites, maybe not the favorite. It seems like Switzerland's got an edge there, and the United States, a brand new team with hockey. Pretty much not many Olympians that have played in the Olympics yet for that hockey team. So that was cool to watch. Got to just sit back and relax today, Chad, and I don't usually do that very often, so I enjoyed it.
That's a good thing, man.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And, before we dive into anything, we're going to have all our thoughts. I'm curious to hear what your favorite thing of the Olympics today was. But we'll talk about all that. Before we get into any of it, though, I think we should kick it to our program director, the one and only AA Anthony Alford, for his thoughts on the day in Italy. AA?
Hey, good evening, everybody. Olympic update time. AA here with you on the Inside Edge Network. We got some medals to talk about. We got some records to talk about. Got to start with the speed skating. Men's 1,000-meter speed skating. Jordan Stoltz, who today broke the Olympic record in that event, clocking in 1:06 time for Jordan Stoltz. He is off and running in the men's speed skating event. How about, obviously, gold medal for Team USA in that event. Jordan Stoltz getting the job done. Meanwhile, in the speed skating event, the women's freestyle skiing event, I should get that right, because we had Team USA come in first and second, gold and silver medals in the women's freestyle skiing event. Liz Limpley, the gold medal winner in her Winter Olympics debut, and coming in with the silver medal, Jalen Koff, back-to-back silver medals for her. Also, in curling, Chad's favorite sport, we had a walk-off victory for Team USA in their qualifying match earlier today. And then, of course, shout-out to Chloe Kim, who made things happen in her own right in the snowboarding event, getting the job done. And of course, there to support Chloe Kim, Cleveland Browns future Hall of Famer Myles Garrett, Defensive Player of the Year Myles Garrett, there to support Chloe Kim. Oh, and by the way, the ex-girlfriend of the guy from Norway who cheated on his girlfriend 3 months into the relationship She responded. She was like, dude, he knows how I feel about this situation. There ain't no chance. No chance they're getting back together. So there you go. It all goes down in the Olympic Village or not. And don't drop that thump da. Hey, I'm kidding. All right, back to you guys.
And yeah, Chad. Just first off, thank you, Double A Anthony Alford. We always appreciate your thoughts from the Winter Olympics there in Italy, and
Truly.
we kind of get some closure. We talked about that last night. Finally, some closure with the Norwegian athlete.
Yeah.
Confessing his love and his mess up, Chad, and it seems like his significant other or his previous significant other not playing those games.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, it's a hard learned lesson, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming next time he'll think before he makes any rush judgments.
Yeah.
Listen, probably not the best thing in the world to do. I don't know how much I can comment on it, really. I'm no one to tell him what to do. He's an Olympic athlete. He can do whatever he wants, but obviously he's not doing well right now. Bad decision. Man, just got to think with your brain, right? That's all.
Yeah, Sterling looked great. Yeah, Sterling looked great. He confessed his love, but unfortunately not going to get the girl back. But he does win a bronze medal. Does win a bronze medal, and we'll see what's going on. Double A did mention a really cool story, though. However, Jordan Stolz, the American, 21 years old from Wisconsin, and I think it was really cool. Double A said he was running his way, but more so skating his way. Speed skating. Very cool, and the story kind of these Olympic Games, when I've been watching at least, has been the American favorites falling short, Chad, in a few different sports. And like I said yesterday, I mean, I'm just appreciative of like the cool stories, no matter the country. But it has been crazy to see, because I feel like when you tune back in, the earlier 2000 Olympics, and a lot of the Winter Olympics were handled by Americans. So just to see how far a lot of other countries have come along in like athleticism and just like developing in these different sports, very cool to see. I'll tell you though, the men's double luge I was watching, me and Papa Moon were watching, and we're like, what if we determined that we could do that, and we tried it, and Papa Moon wasn't for it. He's like, dude, they're so close to the wall, and they're going like over 70 miles per hour. I think that's crazy, Chad. Just absolutely insane.
That is pretty wild. Listen, I don't think I would do it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember when they used to, Progressive Field, when they would have, it was Jacobs Field then, I believe, but I don't know, maybe it was Progressive Field, but they would have like the winter thing, right? You could go skating. They had all like you could go down the little mini ice luge or whatever. I did that, and that's probably about my speed when it comes to sliding out of control on ice. I'm sure they have control. I don't want to make it, but I wouldn't have control. I don't care what you tell me about how to steer a luge. I don't think I'm trying that, man. That looks terrifying to me. I'll be honest with you.
Yep. No, absolutely. And I mean, absolutely. There's a lot of stuff going on in the Olympic Village. Like I said, between the Norwegian athlete, between all of the drama going on between these different sports. I mean, just a lot going on. But it has been really not as drama-filled as other Olympics. You think of like Ryan Lochte, over in Brazil. You think of just all the different scandals. It's been pretty cool in terms of, besides what we broke down with that story the other day about the suits and trying to get the suits to fit a little bit better, and I'll leave it at that. But just a crazy Olympic time, and I've enjoyed it. I really have enjoyed it, Chad. I know we keep talking in the last few days, really this week, about the aura of the Olympics, and it feels like it is coming back a little bit. And I think it is just because, like I said, it's becoming more competitive, and I've noticed it in the last few days of really steadily watching. Yeah,
and it's funny too. You mentioned that you're enjoying it. I'm enjoying it too. And I whenever the Olympics come around, I get this it's like this FOMO, right? Like I have the fear of missing out on it. I think I'm trying to like click on everything and watch all the gold medal matches. I'm like, well, South Korea is playing Finland for something. I'm like, I don't care. I still want to watch it. Yeah, I don't have a dog in the fight, but like I want to watch it. You know what I mean? I want to see what happened. I want to see how the match went down or whatever. And Double A mentioned curling. I love watching curling. It's fun. I don't know anything about it, but it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I don't have to know all the terminology. I know some of them. I'm getting the main strategy down. Like if you put me out there, well, first of all, like I said, I would tear a hamstring. But beyond that, if I physically could do it, I think I could understand what I'm trying to do. I just don't think I'd be very good at it. But But yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch. I just, like I said, I try to watch everything, a little bit of everything. There are some sports that I just can't relate to in any way. It's not that they're not good sports. I'm so far removed from being able to do it that it's even hard to watch, right?
Yeah.
Because you just can't relate to it. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And like I said, I just sort of try to every year I try to like cram everything in, whether it's on DVR or watching as much as I can live. Man, all the sites from just everywhere, like all the Olympic sites, they're beautiful in Italy. I mean, you knew they would be. But it's just I've enjoyed that too, man. Just the scenery in general has been second to none. It's there's that. I mean, even if you don't like watching the Olympic events, you can appreciate a breathtakingly beautiful area of that country for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think that's always cool to get to see different parts of the world,
Yeah.
especially the Olympics brings that out. And yeah, it's been cool to see it in Italy. Just real cool to see the different stories. Double A mentioned another story for the Americans. Like I said, falling short as the favorites. You know, you have Madison Chuck and Evan Bates. You know, maybe not the standalone favorites, but they finished just 1.43 points behind France's team there. Lawrence Fournier, Baudry, excuse me, and Guillaume Cizeron. Goodness gracious, it's going to be a long Olympic season. But they fell short. The Americans, they're in that competition, like I said, in the speed skating, the free skate, excuse me. But they're in the ice dance final. So the ice dancing team falls short. And we keep talking about with yesterday with the mixed team doubles and curling, and so we'll keep an eye on the Americans. See where they end up at the end of this, and just see where the rest of the world finishes, and keep on watching, Chad. But it's been cool.
As we go on, we should probably prepare a medal count too. We're getting to the point where I mean, the medal count the first couple of days doesn't really mean it. You see sometimes like a really random country jump out front, and then that's it. They've expended their whatever they're going to medal in or whatever. But I think as it goes on, maybe tomorrow night we'll start with a little medal count. We'll put that up, just maybe the top 3 or 5 countries or so, I guess.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know, did you have anything else for the Olympics? I had one final thought before we get out of here.
Go ahead.
Did you see that? So the Olympic, the organizing committee, whoever's involved with, organizing this thing from the day they found out they were going to get the Winter Olympics, which, these things take years and years and years. Mm-hmm. The surface for the medal podium was damaging the skaters' blades on their skates. So Japan, I know at least Japan for sure filed an official complaint. But yeah, they were apologizing to the athletes and to the countries because, there are these all these skates that have been damaged because of the surface on the medal podium. I'm sure they have backup pairs that they're comfortable with. It's not like that's the only pair of skates they have, and now what are they going to do, right? You can't sharpen them, can't replace them, whatever. You're just in that situation. But yeah, they issued an apology because apparently whatever the material was made of for the surface was damaging people's skates pretty significantly. So I thought that was an interesting note.
That's crazy. I mean, and you think about it, how much time they've had to prepare these types of, scenes, these types of events, and get them ready. We talked about, here in the network, and especially the guys at Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast, Double A and Kyle, talking about the Saudi Arabia Royal Rumble. They built that entire arena or stadium in 4 weeks, Chad. And they had a WWE, one of their biggest events, the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia. 4 weeks, the stadium was built. I just think it's crazy. It reminds me of, I said this on Main Event, it reminds me of okay, I'm not a big roller coaster guy to begin with, but you have the fair or whatever, not even, I guess the fair, but more so these home days they have here in Ohio, and I'm sure all across the United States, but home days, what we call them here, and you have where, they set up the rides and they do a week, maybe a weekend, whatever, with these rides, and they tear them all down, and they put them in this big compartment, and they take them out. That's what that feels like, and it doesn't, you couldn't tell me, hey, you got me tickets to go, and I'd go. That I just don't feel safe with that. You see how much time it takes for these arenas, these stadiums nowadays to be built, how long the SoFi Stadium, and just you see how long it takes these new arenas to be built. I don't know if I'd be sitting in a stadium that was built 4 weeks prior.
Right. So. Right. Yeah, that would make me a little nervous too. And on the other side of that, kind of unrelated, but related on the opposite end, I find it sometimes kind of fascinating when you see the old Olympic sites, how all of the apparatus, they're still there. They build these things and then they never get used again. They sit there, and they, I don't know. You would think that there would be a plan to put those together, take them apart, reuse, whatever. But in some locations, like all the downhill, everything will just sit there still. Everything that they build just never gets used again, or it's sparingly used, or whatever. Seems like a little bit of a waste, but I guess when you talk about all the money that the Olympics can bring in, I mean, I'm sure I'm sure it more than evens out in the long run. But I find that fascinating that you can go to the Olympic sites and they're just like, it's like an old shutdown, like you mentioned a roller coaster, right? It's like an amusement park that used to be there, and now it's not. It's grown back. Nature's grown back over it or whatever. It's really weird to me. I just find that
it
bizarre,
is.
yes.
But you do see that too, Chad, where like a lot of these like countries and specific locations try to get the Olympics back there. So maybe that's like Italy's plan as a country. Like, hey, we're going to use this as like an Olympic. Like, hey, it's already set up. Why not come back here in 4 years? So.
Yeah.
I said 8 years. That'd be a long time. 4 years, but come back, use it again. So I could see maybe that being the reasoning. Otherwise, I'm with you. It really is a waste. But nonetheless, right now it's really nice to look at all the great sites and everything, and got a little bit more time.
Or hey, listen, or 70 some years. It was Imola originally in the 50s. And by the way, I don't know if I've mentioned this on the show before, but they showed the luge back then compared to the luge track now.
Yeah.
Now it's a manufactured, it's built into the whatever. Back then they literally just cut a path into the snow and I don't know, poured some water on it or something to freeze it up. And that was it. That was the track. Like,
that's crazy.
You got to hope the weather holds or you're going down some loose snow. I don't know. I thought that was weird too. Like just the visual on that. I was like, is that really, that's the luge track? That's what they did. But I thought that was wild too.
Well, in I'm curious to see, we've obviously had quite a few Olympics here in the States.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see when the next, like one that comes close to Ohio is. I mean, I can make the trek, but I think that's like a bucket list thing. I feel like as a sports fan or just I think somebody that enjoys the scenery. We keep talking about the scenery. I think somebody that just enjoys a good time, a good experience, a great experience. I think the Olympics is one of those bucket list items, Chad. So here's what we'll do. Every night we sit down here and do prime time. We're both going to put an undisclosed amount dollar bill in a jar. And once we decide, hey, let's take a look. Well, at the end of the year, we'll take a look and we'll see where we're at.
Fair.
And then by then, we'll have maybe enough money to put for one of us to go to the Olympics.
You've overestimated my ability to save money, my friend. I appreciate you. I love the benefit of the doubt. It means a lot.
We'll work on it. We'll go at the end of the year. We got
have things to get better at.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, we got a lot to talk about, guys and girls and everybody out there. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Inside Edge Network. This is Inside Edge Primetime. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know, me and Chad are typically Browns fans, so we want to lead with Steelers things, specifically for a segment. But this got a little wild and caught our attention.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, they got dysfunctional, just like our Cleveland Browns. Joey Porter has some things to say about former teammate Ben Roethlisberger, and it got real. So we're going to have a conversation about that when we come back. We also have a new segment we're debuting here at the end of this Wednesday edition, Wayback Wednesdays. So Chad and I will look back in the time of sports history and see what happened today here on February 11th, but not 2026. Back in the past. Again, Chad Bryan to my right, your left. I am Eli Moon. This is Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. When we come back, we're going to talk Joey Porter and Ben Roethlisberger. Back after this. And welcome back to Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. That's Chad Bryan to my right. Your left, I am Eli Moon, and we are back to discuss quite some interesting things going on over there in Pittsburgh. Before we get to that, though, of course, shout out to our amazing sponsor, Alley Rose Fragrances, the official sponsor of the Inside Edge Network. If you saw during the break there, we have an awesome discount code going on right there if you need a great smelling candle. You saw some options there. Christmas tree seems to be my favorite still, Chad. And then you look at these body mist, the aromas, so much going on the website that I don't know but to just buy everything on the website. So with Valentine's Day coming up, great options for your sweetheart out there, or for mom or your sister, whoever. Grab a candle, get a body mist. It's absolutely awesome, and it's 20% off if you use the code Inside Edge 20. Again, for those just tuning in, Inside Edge 20, all one word, capital I, capital E, 20. Inside Edge 20, 20% off your order. Alley Rose Fragrances. Chad, I am excited. I'm excited. I know we were talking about we were putting our orders, and we've been talking about the last few days, and like I said, getting into to see all these different candles. I'm so excited. Alley Rose Fragrances.
Yeah.
Again, the official sponsor of the Inside Edge Network. So get your candles, get your body mist, and get all that good stuff. Chad.
Yes.
We got to talk about Pittsburgh.
We do.
Which is weird.
We do? Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do. We do. Talk to me. I mean, because we were chatting about what we're going to talk about on the show tonight. We said, okay, it's Wednesday, we're going to bring a new segment in, which stay tuned. We got Wayback Wednesdays coming up after the break. But we talked about, hey, got to talk about the Olympics. A lot of great stuff going on there. And then you throw this story out at me, and I'm like, whoa, is this the Cleveland Browns in disguise? Like, I didn't quite understand. Talk to the people and tell them what you're telling me earlier and what we should talk about today, right now.
Well, listen, this isn't really to poke fun at Pittsburgh or to try to throw shade at the Steelers or anything. Everyone knows they're a really, really well-run franchise. We know that. The Rooneys have it down. They seemingly always have. And back before, the Rooneys were the owners. The Steelers have always been a solid franchise, right? They've had 3 coaches, 4 now, since the late 60s. Yeah. That's insane. We've had that many head coaches in the last, 85 months. No, not that long. It's not that bad for Cleveland, but you know how it is. I mean, we've gone through some coaches here. They have not, right? They have not run through coaches. They're very well run. They win a lot of games. The playoff results haven't been there lately, but that's okay. It's not easy to win in the playoffs. Really not. But Jimmy Haslam talks about the dysfunction. That perception that there's dysfunction in the building in Berea. And sometimes when there is that perception, it's really hard to get out from under it. Because now it snowballs, right? Every mistake that you make going forward, now it's the dysfunction. It's it's dysfunctional there, right? It just becomes the kind of the mantra when you talk about the Browns. I mean, dysfunction in Berea. Well, listen, the grass isn't always greener on the other side of the fence, right? This can happen other places. It just doesn't get out as much. We just don't hear about it because this is kind of going way back a little bit. There are deep-rooted feelings here that we just haven't heard about for who knows how long, Eli. I don't know how long the Steelers were able to keep this kind of stuff in-house or buried or wherever. So when it comes out, you're a little bit shocked, right? Maybe the best thing to do is just play the video. We can let everyone kind of listen for themselves to kind of see what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Let me put up our...
passionate about Mike T since he's retired.
Give me an example. Who y'all talking about? Y'all talking about James?
I mean, James has been vocal, as has Ben. Both have been vocal.
They tell the version of the story in Pittsburgh that they want to tell. And I told him, I said, how can you say he's not a great coach? Well, everything that happened good to you in football was under his watch. Your Debo name, when I played with you, you was James Harrison. Under Mike, 3 or 4 Pro Bowls, Defensive Player of the Year, played in 2 championships, paid you over 50-something million. You think the head coach didn't have his hand in making that player? Damn, why would you take a shot at the guy who changed your life? Because Coward didn't change your life. Coward cut you 3 times. I didn't agree with none of it because I just feel like you took a shot at Mike. And in this space, Mike ain't gonna defend himself in this space. Well, he broke the brotherhood. Then 7 definitely broke the brotherhood because the shit that 7 did that we don't talk about is crazy. Out of anybody should talk, he should never grab a microphone and really talk Steeler business. Because if we talking Steeler business, his ass is foul of all foul. Like the shit that he's did is foul of all foul. He's not a good teammate. Won a Super Bowl with him, but the person, he's just not a good teammate.
mean, there you saw it on the Not Just Football podcast. That's courtesy of that. That came from Bleacher Report earlier. You're just kind of shocked to hear it, right? Because when we think of dysfunction, we think of Berea. We don't think much outside our brown and orange scope. What do you make of this, Eli? I mean, what do you think? There were no specifics there, right? Just sort of some things alluded to. Maybe there wasn't the best behavior. I kept saying Seven wasn't the best teammate.
Yeah.
And I mean, how do you keep winning with your quarterback? What do you think of this? I mean, I don't know what to make of it. Do you?
I mean, that's how good teams win. Is they ignore the noise, I guess, and it's
even when the noise is internal, right?
Yeah, Steelers, the Patriots. I mean, look at the Patriots. Not to pivot to them for a minute, but look at all the names they brought in over the years, and everybody was able to do the Patriot way. Even Rob Gronkowski. A personality. Randy Moss. Everybody. The big talk was he's a diva, whatever. Comes in there.
Corey Dillon, another guy they brought in with some trouble that seemed to fit right in. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just a bunch of these names. You look at the Steelers, same way. I mean, it seems like they just knew how to handle it, but it also seems like the Steelers didn't like, obviously, Ben Roethlisberger and his own teammates, and whether that's from his off-the-field stuff, obviously that was earlier on in his career, or whether that's the behavior, I guess, the personality of Ben Roethlisberger and maybe his vibe. It's hard to tell exactly. Joey Porter said what? That he did the foulest of the foul, basically. I mean, to me, and I'm not here to speculate per se, but, just answering the question, it seems like maybe he didn't like the way he acted when they weren't, between the lines. And
yeah.
So,
the foul.
Yeah. Oh, we lost you for a moment, Chad.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. You said the foulest of the foul, and then we lost you. I was like, oh, he must have said. We must have bleeped him out. No, I'm just kidding.
That's it. I've been censored by the Roonies. No, it's just the foulest of the foul is so open to interpretation, right? Like it just, yes. We don't know if that's on the field. We don't know if it's in the locker room. We don't know if it's off the field in personal lives. Obviously Roethlisberger was linked to some questionable decisions. We don't want to get into, there's the stuff there. And then the motorcycle accident, Eli, that a lot of people, I felt like, a lot of people looked at that as a little bit irresponsible, right? You're the starting quarterback. You're the face of the franchise. You're the guy, and you're out, maybe taking some risks that you maybe shouldn't take right now on a motorcycle, which I get. Everybody has the right to enjoy their lives the way they want to. But remember, some guys have had it written into their contract that they're not allowed to ride motorcycles. And we know some guys that probably should have had that in their contract here in Cleveland. But again, we're not going to point fingers, not going to throw shade. It's just, you wonder, like, it's just so open for interpretation. Like I said, that what does that mean? You've heard, I don't know if you've heard, I've heard the rumors that in the sense of being a terrible teammate, he hasn't been a good mentor for younger quarterbacks, right? The guys that came after him, apparently, allegedly, whatever you want to say, Roethlisberger wasn't that open to being a mentor, to trying to to try to teach them the ropes, to help them learn the Steeler way or whatever you want to say. Apparently he's not open. He's like, listen, I don't have to mess with them. I'm the starting quarterback. I'm here to do my job. I don't care about them. So don't ask me to do it. And I feel like he's been pretty open about that. And it's like, if you're not even willing to help your own position group succeed, maybe that is some of what he's talking about. The foulest of the foul, man. That's bouncing around in my head. I don't know what that means. I don't know what to make of that.
Yeah, and think about this too. Joey Porter, right? He, his son plays for the Steelers right now. He's a cornerback. Joey Porter Jr. Joey Porter, I believe, spent time being an assistant coach in the defense for the Steelers. So he has been a Steeler pretty much, true, to the truest form, really. Played and won a Super Bowl there in 2005. Mm-hmm. He is coached, and now his son is playing for the same franchise. So there's probably a lot there for him too. Like, you're attacking my family. This is like my second family, the Steelers. They gave me like the highest of moments, the highest of accomplishments in the NFL. And for you to attack Mike Tomlin, who, who knows? And Ben Roethlisberger didn't have like a crazy decline, but I think it speaks volumes to Mike Tomlin and how loyal he was to his guys. You see guys playing for Mike Tomlin their entire careers. Marquise Pouncey, you see Joey Porter didn't play an extended time, obviously more so coach with Mike Tomlin, But seeing that loyalty there, just having his back, and I think that speaks volumes of Mike Tomlin. We're talking about a guy that's going to take this year off. At that point will be eligible for the Hall of Fame because he just needed technically a year off. So we'll see, what that discussion is about Mike Tomlin. But we talk all the time about coaches and players wanting to play for their coach. I think the more and more you start to hear about these stories is now that Mike Tomlin's not coaching and maybe some of his former players feel comfortable talking about him.
Yeah.
I think that we're going to start to see like the impact he truly made on that organization, which will be interesting to see what Mike McCarthy does there. I mean, obviously a long-time coach, had the history there at the Packers with Aaron Rodgers. We'll see if they team back up in Pittsburgh here. We're waiting any day to hear the official announcement, I believe, for Aaron Rodgers and what he's going to do. We'll keep an eye on that here on Primetime. But you look at McCarthy, it made a stop in Dallas and didn't have too much success. So we're going to see really what happens. I get it's like the ties there. Steelers were his favorite team growing up and all that. And, I grew up right down the road or whatever. We'll see. I think the Steelers are really going to miss Mike Tomlin. And I think stories like this kind of show that he was able to keep a lot of personalities together. Remember, at one point, he had Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, and Le'Veon Bell as his three personalities he had to work with on offense.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Le'Veon, the most chill out of all three of them. He just got in trouble for, I believe, just random stuff. It's just – but you look at Antonio Brown and how he kind of trailed off after his Steelers career. You look at Ben Roethlisberger and, you just wonder, like, would have anybody else put up with kind of all the stuff Mike Tomlin would have? And I think that it speaks testaments to him, too.
Yeah, listen, I've always said he seems like a very easy guy to play for. Not that it's easy to go out there and meet his demands, but he's so real, right? He just seems like he would be so honest with you. And I know he's not an active coach, but I'm looking at, like, coaches who've been, like, in the league the last couple of years. Like, he and Mike Vrabel would probably be two of my top 2 or 3 guys that I'd want to play for, right? I don't know if you saw the video of Vrabel just kind of meeting every single player, every Patriots player on the way into the locker room after the Super Bowl, and just kind of like, hey, this stinks, but we got a lot of football left in this program, right? Like we're going to go through it together. We're going to get better. Don't worry about it. Hate losing like this, but it's okay, right? And man, I mean, just like I said, he seems like it's just a really easy guy to play for as well. But yeah, I think it does speak to just Tomlin's personality, really, to be able to handle all of that. That's a lot. Those are a lot of personalities. Well, there's only a few personalities, but the personalities are very big. And to keep it all in-house on top of that, right? And then to still come across as just always cool, calm, collected. I mean, all the time, right? Very rarely did you ever see him even lose it on the sidelines with an official. I mean, even those discussions were pretty calm and just in control, So, yeah, it's weird. It's going to be weird to not see him in football on the sidelines for a season, to be honest with you. It's just one of my favorite coaches really to ever do it. It stinks that it's, it happens to be our biggest rival, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, hey, good news is he is out of our hair for now, at least in the AFC North, and Mike Tomlin going to take a year off, but he obviously kept it together there. And that video from Joey Porter speaks there about just, man, maybe we'll hear some more about Ben Roethlisberger. Maybe this is, I guess my final thought on this, Chad, is, so we're not going to get an old school Pittsburgh Steelers player reunion anytime soon, it sounds like.
It's well, we might, but there might be some different factions of guys across, it might be like a middle school dance, like, one group on one side, one group on the other. Yeah. It doesn't sound like they're the most cordial though, does it?
No, sure don't. Sure don't, man. Wait, we're going to take a quick pause here. We're going to let everybody go and get some caffeine. Dinner, if you're over on the West Coast, it may be dinner time for you. So go ahead and get some dinner. Bring it right back to where you're at. Go ahead and subscribe and follow to the Inside Edge Network on Inside Edge Net, so you know when Chad and I are going live for Primetime and all the amazing programming across the Inside Edge Network. We are your source for sports, entertainment, mental health, and everything in between. We're going to take a quick pause, however. When we come back, we're going to debut Wayback Wednesdays. And we're going to talk about things that happen in the sports world on February 11th. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get a refreshment. Chad, I don't know what you got to do, but I'm sure you got something to do during the break.
I'm going to sit here and stare right into my camera just like this.
Amazing. Amazing. Everybody else, go ahead and we're going to take a quick pause for the cause. Go ahead and put your order in. That's what you can do, Chad. I got something for you. You can go ahead and put another order in with Alley Rose Fragrances.
Go to AlleyRoseFragrances.com immediately.
Thank you.
Get your candles, get your body mist. You got to do it, man.
Absolutely.
20% off.
You heard, Chad. You heard. When we're back here on the Inside Edge Primetime Inside Edge Network with Wayback Wednesdays. Stay tuned. And welcome back to Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad Bryan to my right, your left. I am Eli Moon. Again, shout out to our newest sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Alley Rose Fragrances. 20% off your order, entire order that is. And candles, body mist, all the great aromas. Get your house smelling good. Get your sweetheart a nice Valentine's Day gift and save 20% off your order with the Inside Edge Network using the code InsideEdge20, all one word, capital I, capital E, Inside Edge 20. But yes, we're back here on Inside Edge Primetime. Chad Bryan, Eli Moon, and Chad. I'm excited, man. We are leveling up here. We have back-to-back days with a new segment here on Primetime.
Yes.
Would you love to tell the people about what we have for them today?
I would. First, really quickly, just about our sponsor, Alley Rose Fragrances. I want to remind you
Yes.
that those are handmade here in the U.S., right in North Carolina, just handmade right here in the United States. Those are vegan, all vegan materials, by the way, and vegan products go into every candle and every body mist. So you can rest assured knowing that. Again, cruelty-free, vegan, all natural products. You can't beat it.
I love
you
it.
want to say that. And I did want to listen. Double A texted us during the break. He said, "Hey, I forgot. There's one part that I almost forgot in my Olympic update, and I'm just going to show them that video. Eli, they got to see it because we'd be nuts to leave this out.
True.
We really would be. Just watch the video and you'll understand."
Now it's the Frenchman Yannick Bertrand through the S-turn. Yannick Bertrand. Oh, the gate to the groin for Yannick Bertrand, and you could hear it. And if you're a man, you could feel it. Wow, watch this again. Oh, the Frenchman. Oh, monsieur. Wow, the boys took a beating on that one.
The boys took a beating on that one.
I mean, hey, some people's skates are getting damaged at the Olympics in Milan. And well, anyway, we have a new segment. Fun. It's Wayback Wednesday.
Sure is. Absolutely.
And that fella had some things go way back. Okay. It's Wayback Wednesday. It's the first time we're debuting the Wayback Wednesday segment. It's things that happened today, but not today. Today, meaning February 11th, but way back in time, or even maybe a little more recently. Let's go with the oldest. Let's go back in time. Let's go way back. It's Wednesday. It's Wayback Wednesday. We're going way back to 1927. U.S. figure skating, men's figure skating. Nathaniel Niles, you see him there. Apparently, figure skating was a little different back in 1927. He's definitely holding a tennis racket, but he won the 1927 U.S. Men's Figure Skating Championship. That was on this date in 1927, and he did all that with a tennis racket in his hand. Eli, that's not easy. That's got to throw off your balance. Maybe he had another tennis racket in the other hand. We didn't see his other hand in that picture.
Yeah.
So it's possible that he could have had a second tennis racket. No, he was actually also a noted tennis player. That's
okay.
Yeah.
I'll give him credit.
Playing tennis there. So
look, as a guy who used to play Guitar Hero, you always went for the whammy, and you try to get like the extra like love on the guitar and get it going. Maybe he had the tennis racket and was spinning around while he was doing his ice skating. Who knows?
Who knows?
All I know is I think I've told the story once, maybe on the network, but I did ice skating once. Attempted.
Okay.
And
how did it go for you? I know how it went for me. How did it go for you?
Put the skates on, and I'm like, all right, it can't be that bad, right?
Right.
Now, granted, I rollerbladed like 3 months prior to this, and it didn't go well.
Okay.
I got on there, and I just didn't understand the whole concept. I was a teenager. And not like 18 before, and he's like, well, okay, how old? No, I was like 14, 15.
Okay,
right?
all right.
So, and then I get these ice skates on. And I'm like, all right, time to get out there. And you don't realize that there's really nothing protecting you from walking. Like you just have to like balance. And it got crazy out there. I got out to the ice. I put my skates onto the ice. I started moving, and I didn't like it. I started grabbing onto the side. I understood that like I still was playing sports, and I didn't want to actually get hurt for the sports I was playing. You know, I was wrestling a lot, and I stopped. But yeah, I kudos to anybody that can ice skate in general. Like hockey throws me for a loop that you have to not only be able to skate but also pass and be in position and score potentially and defend and then you could also fight. I mean, so anything on skates, not for Eli Moon, but I sure enjoy watching it. And shout out Nathaniel Niles back at 1927 that was?
1927, yeah. Let's bring it up. 1927, like I said. I guess we did see his other hand there in the picture. That's me not paying attention. But yeah. Figure skater and noted tennis player Nathaniel Niles won the 1927 U.S. Men's Championship. Eli, my first foray into ice skating went strikingly similarly to yours. The family, rented out a local place here, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna try it. It's the first time, and I did this in my 40s, by the way. It's a longer way down in your 40s than it used to be in your whatever. So I'm like, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna throw some skates on. So I put them on, I tied them up, and I was walking on the the dry ground. I was like, okay, this is not bad. I haven't broken an ankle yet, and I'm getting close to the ice. And I started, I got nervous, right? Like everybody's going out on the ice. And I'm like, okay, there are people here, and like people can see me. This isn't like me in the arena by myself, like trying this thing. And if I fall and whatever, there are like all these people, family, friends, right? So I get out there, and there's a steady stream of people going out. And I'm like 8th in line of like 50 people. I'm like, why would you put me in front of anyone? So I get out on the ice immediately, Eli, like you. Didn't like it. Knew it wasn't for me immediately, right? I'm like, I'm going down. So I tried to mosey over to the side. I think I had to have someone help me closer to, I couldn't even get to the boards. And then I turned back, went against traffic. I'm like parting the sea of people coming onto the ice. I'm like, move. This isn't an activity for me. You need to get out of my way, or I'm going to go down. I'm going to fall on you. It was awful, man. I tried it though. I put the skates on and I tried. I don't know if I tried it. Well, anyway, I don't think you're going to see me backflip on the ice or win the tennis skating championships of any time. Doesn't matter if it's 1927 or now. Let's move on. On this day in 1966, legendary Giants outfielder Willie Mays signed at that time baseball's highest contract at $130,000 per year. He actually shared that designation that season with Sandy Koufax. They both made $130,000 in 1966. And were the highest paid players at the time in Major League Baseball.
It's crazy because, most like mortgage bankers, when the market was good, were making that type of money. To think that like one of the greatest baseball players of all time was making that, it kind of just shows you how little they were caring about taking care of the players, man. I mean, and that's kind of sad to see $130,000 per year. Yeah. And to think like what your 7th or 8th guy on the Dodgers makes right now.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. It was a lot of money back then, right? It was a lot of money.
True.
You should see some of the salaries they bounce around. At one point, I told you before the show, Babe Ruth was making like $80,000 a year in the 30s. And then when he was out of baseball, the highest salary dropped all the way down to like $26,000 a year. So they didn't think much of the other players, right? I mean, they were like, hey, Babe Ruth, he was the guy. You're not the guy. Like we're going to give you $25,000. You can go hang windows or whatever, right? And I mean, that was probably pretty good money in the 30s and 40s. But you should say, I mean, there clearly was no player union, or at least no organized anything to help protect the players because, like I said, the salaries they bounce. We can get into it on another episode, but the salaries bounce all over the place. They're wild. So on February 11th in 1974, we're going to stay in baseball, but we're going 8 years ahead. Hold on, we're going 8 years. Here we go. Boom. The first Major League Baseball arbitration case took place. It's Minnesota Twins pitcher Dick Woodson, who I think is what that French skier was yelling about. He was seeking $29,000 from the Twins. They offered $23,000. They had to have an arbitration meeting to meet in the middle because the Twins said, you're not worth $29,000. They said, well, I don't want your $23,000. I actually don't know how that case was decided, but now arbitration is a whole thing. And it's pretty nasty. From what I understand, you You go and you sit with your representatives, and your team comes in and they sit with their representatives, and they tell you basically why you're human garbage and you don't deserve $3.8 million. You're going to take $2.1 million. And then, the arbitrator gets in. He's non-biased, supposedly. And he says, you got to give him $2.7 million. So you meet somewhere in the middle, and then everybody feels really bad about each other, and you demand a trade, and you never sign again. And it's a really kind of a nasty process. I'm not sure why you'd ever treat an asset like that. You consider the players to be assets. It seems like a strange, just a strange process to me. But that's the arbitration process in Major League Baseball. So that's what it is. And apparently some of those have gotten pretty heated, Eli. Have you ever heard about that?
Yeah, it gets rough, and I'm curious to hear some of your stories. But you even see like the Tariq Skubal case. I mean, recently, it's like it's just it's disappointing that these get so ugly. Part of me thinks if that's how they're doing it in baseball. However, maybe other jobs, maybe employees should be able to go and have arbitration and fight for their pay as well. I mean, let's make it interesting. I mean, you've done 2-3 years with your company, and you've worked your way up and you're ready to go to arbitration. I don't know. I just think it's so crazy. Yeah. And it's like, just allow them just let the contract run out. You don't see arbitration really in NFL or in NBA. You see restricted free agents, you see unrestricted free agents, you see the team opt to play. I get it. But I think MLB they need to have a little bit more of a fluid process with this and allow the players to have more freedom. And that's why I think they do get spiteful, some of them, and take more money for LA, go to the Dodgers or go to the Yankees, because, okay, so the Tigers are going to pay me about, 10 to 15 million right now, because it's not 10 to 15,000 anymore, 10 to 15 million, then I'm going to go somewhere else and make them really regret their decision later. Now, obviously, Skubal made it happen. We'll see what happens later on, but I'm curious. What are some of the stories you've heard? I'm so curious.
Well, it just, like I said, just the whole process of like the team coming in and basically like, making their case to the arbitrator of why you aren't worth the money that you think you're worth. And, it gets pretty nasty. It's just, you got to think about like now going forward with that franchise, right? Like is this the way they think about me? And of course, I'm sure it's like the meeting of the minds after, well, hey, it's not really how we just have to try to win the arbitration case. Like, what a nasty process. And I bet you, Eli, we're looking at a work stoppage, okay? After this Major League Baseball season, it just is what it is. The collective bargaining agreement runs out on December 1st of this year. So it'll be after the season, right? They got to play through the World Series. We'll at least see that. But I would bet you that one of the topics that gets broached at some point during all those talks and all that whatever nastiness that's going to go on is team control. And it's one of the things that really bothers me the most about, you can have a guy in the minors. Here's a guy in the minors who's ready to play.
We got it in.
I'm leaning in. I'm embracing it. It's my thing now. I'm apparently I'm Chris Collinsworth, John Gruden, some kind of mix of that. I don't know what happened to me, but it happened. No, it's you have a guy in the minors that's 19, 20 years old, right? He can play in the majors, but you don't want to call him up because it would now it starts the clock on him, right? And now he goes to arbitration faster. He becomes an unrestricted free agent faster, blah, 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 whatever. That needs to not be a thing. I'm sorry, man. If we've got 19 and 20-year-olds that are ready to play, get them up. Mm-hmm. Put them in the major leagues. Let them play. And I'm not about rushing guys up too quickly, but in the rare case of guys, and now guys are playing younger, right? You saw Ronald Acuna Jr. come up with the Braves way ahead of his time. There've been plenty others. I wouldn't even, there are just plenty of guys on that list that come right out of college, ready to go right away. Even if it's only a year or two in college, or they get drafted out of high school and they're ready to go by the 19, 20, or they're, international guys are ready to go at 19 or 20. But the teams won't, they toy with them a little bit because they don't want the clock to start running, because they have them. Well, now we have them under team control for 7 years or whatever. We can go to arbitration 3 times. Tell him how, hey, you still can't hit a slider away, by the way. You don't do well with that. With a 3-1 count last year, he hit 212. What's that about? Right? Like, you're just picking apart the guy's whole game. And then you're like, hey, by the way, when it comes time and you're an unrestricted free agent, please take a hometown discount to sign with us. Yeah. Right? Like, the whole process is weird to me.
It's absolutely wild. And I know we have another story to move on to, I'm sure, before we get put a conclusion on this episode of Wayback Wednesdays and Primetime here on Wednesday. But I do want to bring this up. Travis Bazana's a guy that comes to mind. You look at number 1 overall pick, 2 seasons ago, And you look at with the Guardians, like, what are they going to do with him? 23, there's discussions he may come up to this season, but if not, then what? He's 24, 25, and then you got to go do all this. And then, the same thing you're talking about, Chad. It makes me wonder, is this fair to the players? And maybe we shouldn't be as mad at the players. I say we as in like a consensus as like, the world, when they do take a little bit extra money and go get as much money as they can. They have about a 10 to 15-year window typically is what, if you're one of the better players in Major League Baseball, or at least can stick around. So that, and then also I do want to bring up, I brought up Tariq Skubal. He had the record-breaking $32 million win against the Tigers in 2026. So it actually set a $12 million precedent, or like a new standard. So
so from these guys fighting over $6,000 back in the 70s to, big money now. It's still, but I mean, the bigger the money, the nastier the disposition, right, between the franchise and the player. And I feel like sometimes people think, professional athletes have a charmed life. I don't think I mean, sometimes what these guys go through behind closed doors is not pleasant, right? There's a lot of different things that can happen that I think, maybe you wouldn't even think of. But it happens regardless. Real quick, last item on Wayback Wednesday. This is a sad one for me. I grew up a fan of Mike Tyson. This was on February 11th, 1990. It says it there in a huge upset. James Buster Douglas knocks out Mike Tyson in the 10th round in Tokyo. But Buster Douglas from Columbus, Ohio, by the way, Eli. It took an Ohio guy to finally get to Mike Tyson to show his vulnerability as he was finally human for the first time. And I think Tyson's head was in a few different places then. He had a lot of personal life stuff going on, and it's just getting pulled in a lot of different directions. And I don't think he prepared for the Buster Douglas fight the way that, he had prepared for some fights younger in his career when he was a little hungrier. And I think it showed in the ring. It clearly showed. Yeah.
I mean, that's a big, obviously, blemish on Mike Tyson's record. And you see it a lot with combat sports. You kind of always wait for like who's going to get them. Conor McGregor, when him and Khabib Nurmagomedov fought, and Khabib really just handled him and ended like any type of aura about Conor McGregor really has never been the same. And then you look at even just, like some of the greats, like Holly Holm being choked out by Miesha Tate, who finally gets her win. I mean, I know I'm going UFC here for a moment, but Ronda Rousey, that's more of my wheelhouse. But you look at those types of those impacts, and I think UFC, boxing, MMA, boxing, whatever, they're all based off of who's next up, and Mike Tyson was the man for a long time, and then it just kind of all stopped for a quick second. And obviously a lot of other things factoring in, but just cool to see him still. I mean, nowadays, just cool to see him just doing his thing, in the Hangover movies, boxing Jake Paul. I mean, whatever the heck the man wants to do, he gets to do. And it's cool to see that his legacy wasn't really, ever in a position that was tarnished or looked at differently, and he's beloved by the world. So that's real cool. But, crazy moment. I think that, like I said, I think the UFC comparison, in my opinion, at least me watching, and I know everybody's going to say Matt Serra is a big one over George St. Pierre. That's a big one. But I remember watching live Ronda Rousey and Holly Holm. Yeah. When Holly Holm lit her up, caught her with that kick, and it was all over. Yeah. And then she tried to come back Rousey against Amanda Nunes, and that was bad. But it's just something about watching an underdog. It's so cool. And Buster Douglas, one of the biggest underdogs in fighting history, I'd say, in terms of that fight. Yeah.
I mean, if the Rocky movies hadn't already been made, like this might have sparked a Rocky movie. It was like that big of an upset, Not that big, but he was a professional fighter, but no one expected him to have a chance against Tyson, Yeah.
I mean, crazy.
Wild.
Absolutely crazy. Yep. So, well, hey, very good job finding all that info. I know we were scouring through the history books trying to find what really we should bring to the table for this debut of Wayback Wednesdays. I think we did a good job searching and bringing those to the table, and hope everybody out there enjoyed. But we will be doing Wayback Wednesday again next Wednesday. So see what we can find.
Seems like a good day for it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that'll be February 17th, if I'm not mistaken. I believe February 17th or February 18th.
It'll be the 18th. Yeah.
18th. My goodness. So with that being said, we'll see what happened on February 18th then. Before we get out of here, however, we'd absolutely be getting ahead of ourselves if we didn't go over some final thoughts. Chad, do you have anything to tell the people on the Inside Edge Network?
Watch out for the gates. When you're skiing, you may think that you have everything under control. You may have won your arbitration case. You're feeling pretty good. You're on top of the world, right? And then you come around a corner a little bit too wide, and a gate gets somewhere where maybe you don't want a gate. you know, and I don't know if that's maybe the newest way of getting around the hyaluronic acid. Maybe that's not the best way to you know, administer that. But if they have to hide it in plain sight, sometimes that's what you do. But watch out for the gates. That's my final thought. Watch out for those. They can sneak up on you and cause some damage. Not like skates on the metal podium. Not that kind of damage, but maybe some more important damage.
Jeez, that's. Oh.
I think he spoke all of our minds when he said, "Yeah."
Yeah, dude, he was so loud. I mean, I can't
I
be
don't
mad at the guy.
blame 70 miles an hour or whatever. He's probably going 50 miles an hour around that turn, and whew,
All
the
right,
airbag's deployed, right?
yeah. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, I'll close with my final thoughts are. If you are looking for some baseball coverage, look no further than the Inside Edge Network. We have our Inside Edge Cleveland Guardians preview show on February 18th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Chad and I, Rob Rizicki of Main Event, and Autumn of Jersey Chasers will be going over all of the Cleveland Guardians news, what they expect for spring training, what they expect for the season, and who to look out for, and how the Guardians' chances are for the AL Central, how they are for the AL winning the AL, the American League, and can they bring home the World Series, first one since 1948, Chad? A lot to talk about. A lot of exciting stuff.
That's a lot. I'm going to see if anybody wants to recreate an arbitration meeting live on the show with us. I'm going to see if we can do that. No.
Well, we'll work on that, and we'll work on a whole lot more here. Very exciting news, too. A few weeks away, but I just secured a guest here for Inside Edge Primetime. Program director, you've seen him on the Winter Olympic Updates, AA Anthony Alford, of the Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast. I had a lot of caffeine tonight, Chad, as you can tell. I'm rolling now. But
hey, you're going.
But AA Anthony Alford is going to join us to talk about Elimination Chamber, the pay-per-view before WrestleMania, the PLE, the premium live event. So we're gonna. I know you're not necessarily the biggest wrestling guy all the time right now, Chad.
That's
AA
okay.
is going to get you up to speed on who you should be rooting for during Elimination Chamber.
Okay. I can appreciate anyone's passion for anything. I don't have to be into it. Sometimes it's just fun. It's nice to get to talk to people about what they're passionate about, right? It can be a little contagious. I mean, it's just nice to listen to somebody else talk about their thing sometimes. It'll be fun to have them on about and you know, have them talk about that.
Absolutely. We will have AA Anthony Alford talking about wrestling. We'll get Chad all up to date on who he should be rooted for, who you should be rooted for Elimination Chamber. And it'll be good to see our buddy as always. So with that being said, just want to remind everybody to make sure you follow and subscribe to the Inside Edge Network on all the socials, Inside Edge Net. So you know when Chad and I are going live, we will be back here tomorrow, 10 p.m. to close out this week of Inside Edge Primetime. And make sure you are ready for all of your weekend activity. Chad, Bryan, TK Dandridge, Illegal Formation on Saturday at 11 a.m. You'll have Chad, TK, Ryan Mosser, Sunday Sports Show. That's coming up at around 11 a.m. as well on Sunday. And then, of course, let's go back to Saturday afternoon. Can't forget my pops, Real Talk with Pop Moon, Saturday 5 p.m. Very, very exciting guests we have coming up this week. So we'll have Locally Grown podcast, does a bunch of music, just good for the music community, right? Does a lot of good there and interviews a lot of music artists. So they're going to have a conversation with Papa Moon, and it'll be here Saturday at 5 p.m. So Legal Formation, Real Talk with Papa Moon, Sunday Sports Show, and then, of course, main event, Rob Rizicki, AA Anthony Alford, and myself. So, Chad, I think it's time to get out of here.
It seems like it's time to get out of here. It's as good a time as any.
All right. Well, hey, before we mess anything up, we are going to sign off. It is Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. That's Chad Bryan. To my right, your left, I am Eli Moon. Again, Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Thanks again to our sponsor, Alley Rose Fragrances. Thanks to all of you out there. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, stay safe, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Later.